OpenAI removes ChatGPT conversations from Google search results. What you need to know. In a surprising turn of events, OpenAI has pulled the plug on a feature that allowed shared ChatGPT conversations to surface in search engine results. This move comes after a public outcry sparked by a Fast Company article, which revealed that thousands of ChatGPT dialogues were indexed by Google. While the indexed chats didn't explicitly contain personal identifiers, the content sometimes included specific details that could potentially trace back to the source. But here's where it gets controversial. The feature in question wasn't the result of a security breach or a data leak. Instead, it was linked to a user-initiated action, the creation of a shareable URL for a chat. When users opted to make a chat public, they were presented with a pop-up that included an option to make this chat discoverable. This choice, however, was explained in a less prominent font, which some might argue was not as clear as it could have been. And this is the part most people miss. Users who created public links to chats might not have realized that the contents would be visible to search engines. They could have intended the links for sharing in messaging apps or as a convenient way to revisit the conversations later. Regardless of the intentions, the feature has now been removed. In response to the criticism, Dane Stuckey, OpenAI's Chief Information Security Officer, initially defended the feature's labeling as sufficiently clear. However, as the backlash intensified, OpenAI decided to take action. Ultimately, we believe this feature introduced too many chances for people to inadvertently share information they didn't mean to, so we're eliminating the option, Stuckey announced on Thursday. This decision raises important questions about user privacy and the unintended consequences of seemingly innocuous features. It also invites us to consider the broader implications of AI-generated content being indexed by search engines. What do you think about this issue? Should AI-generated conversations be indexed by search engines, or should they remain private by default? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Why your public ChatGPT conversations are showing up on Google, how it impacts your privacy. Your public queries on ChatGPT are being indexed by Google and other search engines. Update on July 31st, 2025 at 4:10 p.m. PT. Just hours after the publication of this article, OpenAI announced the removal of a feature that allowed users to make their public conversations searchable online. The company described this as a brief experiment that ultimately led to too many chances for users to unintentionally share private information. Here's the original story. It's quite fascinating to peek into the human psyche. If you narrow down search results on Google, Bing, and other search engines to only show URLs from the domain https://chatgpt.com/share, you can stumble upon conversations between strangers and ChatGPT. Some of these shared links are rather mundane. Individuals seeking advice on bathroom renovations, exploring the complexities of astrophysics, or looking for new recipe ideas. In a more intriguing instance, one user requested ChatGPT to help them rewrite their resume for a specific job application. Based on the details available in the chat log, it seems they were unsuccessful in landing the job. Another user posed questions that seemed to originate from an incel forum, while yet another inquired whether it was safe to microwave a metal fork. The answer is a resounding no. This user continued to ask increasingly ridiculous and troll-like questions, prompting the AI to generate a humorous guide titled, "How to Use a Microwave Without Summoning Satan, a Beginner's Guide." By default, ChatGPT does not make these conversations public. A conversation will only receive a share URL if the user intentionally clicks the share button and then selects a second create link button. The service also assures users that their name, custom instructions, and any messages added after sharing will remain private. After creating a link, users can choose whether they want that link to be indexed by search engines. However, Users might not realize that other search engines can index their shared ChatGPT links, which could inadvertently expose personal information. I apologize to the individual whose LinkedIn profile I found through this method. TechCrunch event, San Francisco, October 27th to 29th, 2025. This situation, though unintentional, reflects a norm partly established by Google. When users share public links to files on Google Drive, such as documents set to anyone with the link can view, Google may index these in search results. However, Google typically does not display links to Drive documents that are not publicly available on the web. For instance, a document may show up in search results if it is linked from a reputable website. According to ChatGPT, these chats were indexed as part of an experiment. An OpenAI spokesperson informed TechCrunch, ChatGPT chats are not public unless you choose to share them. We've been testing ways to facilitate the sharing of helpful conversations while ensuring users maintain control. And we recently concluded an experiment that allowed chats to appear in search engine results if users explicitly opted in when sharing. While search engines like Google manage the algorithms that dictate what content appears for specific search terms, they do not have control over what gets indexed. A Google spokesperson stated, "Neither Google nor any other search engine controls what pages are made public on the web. Publishers of these pages have complete authority over whether they are indexed by search engines." This article was updated on July 31st, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with comments and additional context from OpenAI. About the author, Amanda Silberling is a senior writer at TechCrunch, focusing on the intersection of technology and culture. She's contributed to various publications, including Polygon, MTV, The Kenyan Review, NPR, and Business Insider. Amanda co-hosts a podcast titled Wow If True about internet culture, alongside science fiction author Isabel J. Kim. Before joining TechCrunch, she worked as a grassroots organizer, museum educator, and film festival coordinator. She holds a BA in English from the University of Pennsylvania and was a Princeton in Asia Fellow in Laos. For tips, reach out via Signal, an encrypted messaging app, at amanda.100. For other inquiries, email amanda@techcrunch.com. Google exposing confidential ChatGPT conversations. Privacy concerns alert. Imagine sharing a deeply personal secret with a friend via ChatGPT, only to find out it's now visible to the entire world. Google has been quietly archiving these private conversations, transforming intimate exchanges into public-facing search results, a move that could expose sensitive details about users. But here's the shocking part. Hundreds of these conversations are leaking raw, unfiltered information. Users might casually share a chat URL with a loved one or bookmark it for later, unaware their dialogue has been crawled by Google and made searchable, which raises a critical question. Were these sharing features designed for privacy? Or did OpenAI accidentally turn private talks into public, Shir Gayami, Shak, V True Media CS, Entity Type, All Jamalid Messenger, Bake?